Hey everyone, welcome back to Cartel Files. My name is Adrian, and my job is to simplify laser design for you so you can make your next project quicker. So if you're new here, this is the Design Chooser 9000 tool. It's basically a list of all the different laser design ideas that I could come up with, and it would just randomly choose one, and that's what we're going to be designing today. So if you have some suggestions to add to this tool, please let me know by commenting down below. And while you're there, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps our channel out. All right, let's see what we are designing today. Wedding invitation. Okay, cool. So normally what we do after we've come up with our design idea, let's Google some inspiration. So let's put in wedding invitations and have a look at some traditional wedding invitations. And maybe I'll put in laser design as well. And straight away I see this image. And this is very similar to a design that I made for one of my friends. So I'm pretty comfortable with designing something like this. Let's just see if there's anything else that sort of stands out. I also like these kind of portrait style version. That's kind of cool. And also this style, which is sort of like a diamond shape with a square in the middle, and when all the sides fold in, you get this sort of repeating pattern. I kind of like that as well. But, oh, this is kind of cool too. With like it's more of like a sleeve. I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, have a look at some images, get some inspiration, and then I'll get back to you when I've come up with a game plan.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I very quickly decided that I don't have the artistic talent in order to design the folding part of the wedding invitation. So what I've done is I've gone online and I've looked at a couple different designs, and I really like this one here. So this design has sort of a repeating flower pattern, and both sides, I guess, would fold in using this design, and I think this is really cool. So this design is by Shaharia99, and you can find this file on his Vector Easy profile. It's under page 3, halfway down. You'll find it. So what I've done is I've downloaded that, and if we head over to CorelDraw, we can import that file. So he has designed this file as an EPS file. Once you've imported it, it's going to ask you, do you want to import the text as a curve or as a text object? I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any text in here, but normally I would choose curves. That way, you know, it doesn't look any different if you don't have the font installed on your computer. So hit OK, and we can click on the screen to add the file here. So as you can tell, it's really quite large, and we'll need to work with this. But an EPS file is basically a vector file, so it makes this super easy. All right, so the first thing we want to do is right-hand click on the image and press Ungroup All. Okay, and what that does is, if you look on the right-hand side under our Objects panel, it basically breaks everything out as its own individual curve. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is delete this background. So if I select that black background and press delete, you'll notice the design on the left-hand side has disappeared. Now, we haven't deleted that design, it's still there, but it's filled in white and has no outline. So the first thing I would do is press Ctrl A to select everything. And you can see now this hidden design is selected. And I'll go over to my color palette and right hand click on the red color, and then go up to the first option and left hand click that to remove any fill. And straight off the bat, I can see I don't want the design on the right hand side. So I'll select all of that and press delete. And now we've got our nice design here that we can start working on. So you can see that the left and right hand side of this design is connected. Okay, and we need to separate them because we want a left hand and a right hand. Now, just looking at this, I can see that it's completely symmetrical. So what I'll do is I'll create a line between them that would separate the left and right side, and then delete one of the sides, probably the right hand side, and then we would just work with one side and duplicate it for either side of the invitation. All right, so first thing I'll do is if I head over here, hold down the button on the 2-point line and go down and click on 3-point curve. Okay, I can now move over to here, click that node and bring the line up sort of halfway through, maybe a little bit less than halfway, and then I can create a nice curve that'll follow that design. All right, so now let's do the same thing here. We'll click the top node and the bottom node and create a nice curve. You can see that sort of flows very nicely there. Same here, top node, bottom node, and create that nice curve. Okay, so now we've created this line, that line, and now we finish off with this line as well. And there we go. So now we've successfully separated the left and the right. And now we use my favorite tool, the virtual segment delete tool, which you can access by clicking on the crop. Normally it would be set to crop. Click on that, hold, and go down to virtual segment delete. All right, so now basically everything on the right hand side we want to delete. So I just create a big box over it all and it will delete most of it. And then we can come in and delete all these extra lines that we don't need. Okay, so there we go. Now we have a nice clean edge that we can start working with. Now, straight off the bat, I can tell that this curve and this curve is a bit too harsh. Okay, so what I can do is if I double click that, actually before we do that, we need to build this curve in or combine this curve with the rest of the design. So if I go back to the selection tool, click this line, hold down shift and click the other line, it'll now select both lines and we can click this button up here, combine. Okay, so now this is all one line. We'll now need to do the same with this line and the outer line, combine, and these two small pieces here that we've also selected, and click that outer line and combine once again. All right, so now that they're all connected, I can repair this corner node here and just make it a lot smoother. So if I double click on that line, I can make a box around that node. So you can see it's selected here because now it's blue, filled in. Okay, and if I go up to the top and click join two nodes, this will now transform that node into a curve. Okay, and the last thing I want to do is click on this option here, smooth node. Okay, so when I click that, you can see it's now dragged that curve out and got rid of that harsh corner there. So I want to do the same down the bottom, so I'll double click and you can see there's two overlapping nodes here. All right, I'll select that, go up to the join two nodes option, and now creates a curved node. And now to smooth out that curve, I choose the smooth node tool. And there we go. That is a nice smooth finish. All right, last thing is now we need to create the design for where the invitation will sit. Okay, so I'm thinking if we can create this out of an A3 sheet of paper, that way it's nice and easy, accessible to everyone. We can make a nice design that's not too small, because I think if we put it on an A4 piece of paper, it would just be way too small. So what I would do is come up here and choose this page size option and come down and click A3. And when you do that, you can see the page now becomes a little bit larger. Okay, and we can come up here and we can choose the landscape option. And that basically puts the page in landscape option. And what we're going to do is we're just going to create our design using the page as a guide. All right, so I'm thinking our wedding invitation should be probably about 200 mil by 200 mil. Okay, so I can just create a box, 200 by 200. Okay, and then what I want to do is make this design, or make this graphic that we downloaded, make it the same size as this box in height. Okay, so definitely what I want to do is lock this ratio, the size ratio, and that just means when I type in a height, it'll automatically adjust the width of it to maintain the aspect ratio. Okay, so now we've done that. You can see that that should link up nicely over there. And we will make a duplicate of this. So if we select the design, drag it out, and then right-hand click, this will create a duplicate of this. And we want to make sure while it's selected, we go up here and just mirror this horizontally. Okay, snap that to there. And this will be the base of our design. So just to make sure that this is all going to close up nicely, because I haven't tested this beforehand, let's see if this will work. So what I want to do is move this one over to here and move this one over to here. And you can see what it's going to look like when it's closed. And you can see there's a little bit of a clash here, here, and here, but that's okay because it's only overlapping by a tiny bit, and we probably want it to overlap a little bit so it sort of holds itself closed. Okay, cool. So this is an example of it closed. Now what I typically do in cases like this, you can see that we've got a design here with this straight edge on the right hand side, and we have a square that we're butting this up against, right? So there's going to be a double line here. Now, what I want to do is go over to our line tool, choose the 2-point line, okay? And I want to select this top node. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I want to select this top node here and then drag a line down to the bottom node. And you're probably thinking, well, isn't that going to make 3 lines now? Yes, technically, but I'll show you what I'm thinking. So I've got this vertical line now. What I want to do is create like a dotted line, and we'll cut all the way through the material, but there'll still be enough material between the dots to allow it to fold at that point, but not break off, right? So if you select that line, we have an option. While your line is selected, press F12. And this brings up your outline pen options, which will basically change the style of this line. So while that's selected, come over here to line style and scroll down to something like this option here. Doesn't really matter what you choose. You just got to make sure that it's not a solid line. Then if we click on this settings option, just to the right of this line style, you can adjust the line style. So what you can do is you can grab these handles and pull it across, and you see that the lines now space out. Let's hit add, and you can see that this line is now dotted, right, with a good amount of space between them. Now you may need to adjust a few things once you've designed it, just to see how much strength your piece of paper has. Obviously, the thicker the paper, the more strength it's going to have. If you're using thin paper, then you may need to increase the spacing between the dots to just give you a bit more strength. Okay, you don't want that to tear off. All right, last thing is we now want to put this on top of here and remove the lines below it. Okay, so we end up with a dotted line. Now, super quick hack that I normally do is I position the line, and while it's still selected, I press Control X for cut. That removes the line. Okay, and now I can go in, choose my virtual segment delete tool, delete that line. Okay, that double line that we initially had, and if I press Control V, it'll paste that line that we cut earlier exactly where I positioned it. Okay, so now you can see you've got that nice dotted line, and that'll be the fold. So we need to do that the same thing on the right hand side. So I'll make a duplicate, I'll select that node, snap it to where it needs to go, Control X to cut it, virtual segment delete tool, delete that line that we don't need, and press paste, Control V. And there we go. So we've got a nice design here. The last thing I'd probably do is I would just create another square about 180 by 180 and position that into the center, and that looks really nice to me. So now we can just design what we want as our invitation text, but in general, that's how I would design my invitation, and it would look something like this when closed. All right, so we've finished our design for our wedding invitation. If you like this file and you want to download it, this will be available at cartelfiles.com. There will also be a link in the description below. Another big shout out to Shaharia99 for uploading the design that we used for the wings of the invitation. Now, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe. It really helps us grow the channel and bring more content for you in the future. Thank you.